Next on Worcester News Tonight, tragedy in the small town of Groton. Fire claims the lives of 2 adults. And mental illness in the workplace. A look at a new statewide initiative that is getting some support right here in Worcester. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Madison. A late-night fire kills 2 people in Groton, and firefighters say when they arrived, the intense flames made any rescue attempt impossible. Our Brittany Schaefer has the story.
People are dead after a fire at this home in Groton. Firefighters responded to the 2-alarm fire on Wiley Road late Thursday night.
Initial police and firefighters on scene found a single-family home that was very heavily involved in fire. We had fire that was issuing from the windows of both the first and second floor.
Fire Chief Steele McCurdy says by the time firefighters arrived, they couldn't even enter the building.
In this case, the building was already structurally compromised as well, so it was untenable for firefighters to make entry into the building.
The cause is under investigation. The victims were found on the first floor. Linda Truax says she was friends with the couple who lived here. According to her, they were in their 50s.
I know them because we plowed for them last year. Yeah, it was a male and female. And it was Mimi and Doug. They're really nice people and always talking to us and stuff.
Truax says a friend of hers was driving down Wiley Road Thursday night, saw smoke coming from the home, and dialed 911. For Truax and others in this small town, the tragedy is tough to take.
I'm very sorry that it happened, and my heart goes out for everybody in the family. And it's a heartbreaking thing.
It's such a nice community here, and when I did see the fire, I just can't imagine how their family's feeling.
As you can see, this is such a tragedy for a small town like Groton, Massachusetts. The identities of the 2 victims have yet to be released, but more information will be coming soon. In Groton, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
The State Fire Marshal's office is still investigating the cause. Well, it's a statewide campaign aimed at taking hold of mental health illness in the workplace. CEOs Against Stigma aims to get company executives across the state to work with the Massachusetts chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And recently, one of the CEOs who has joined the campaign is from right here in Worcester.
For people with mental illness, Family Continuity CEO Barbara Wilson wants them to know it can get better.
You can recover from mental health issues, so from schizophrenia you can recover. You can figure out ways to take care of your health and be healthier, and you can become a productive citizen.
Which is why she has joined the statewide initiative, CEOs Against Stigma.
The whole notion of people's preconceived notions and the whole notion of stigma that is really getting in the way of the general population understanding, and also the people who have serious mental illness or other mental health conditions, makes it difficult for them to want to seek help or do something about it.
According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, 1 in 5 adults are affected by a mental health condition. They are also the leading cause of workplace disability. It's an issue one city official we spoke with said needs to be looked at more closely in Massachusetts.
People who suffer with mental illness and their families who try to help them sometimes just can't help them because the services aren't there, the money's not there, the bed's not there. So I think it is something that we should invest heavily in and also remove the stigma from mental illness.
Wilson says removing the stigma is key to making progress on dealing with mental illness in the workplace. She hopes that others will join the fight.
We're doing it for the people that we work with, and we don't do it for our own employees, then I see us as being hypocritical, and ultimately I think it's unethical. That's my personal value, my personal belief.
NAMI's goal is to get 250 CEOs from across the state to join the campaign so they can reach 500,000 workers in Massachusetts. Concerns about the Zika virus continue to grow today as babies in Latin America and the Caribbean are being born with birth defects connected to the mosquito-borne illness. One of the hardest hit countries is Brazil. And as our Alicia Rodriguez has a look at more on how some in the Brazilian community here in New England are reacting to the outbreak.
It's a lot where my family lives.
Brazilian Americans living in New England have been following the spread of the Zika virus in their home country closely.
One of my sisters, she thought she had it. And for a week, she was doing blood tests and all that, but came out negative. They have a lot of those over there.
Until recently, the outbreak was contained to Brazil.
I think before this was a widespread problem in Brazil, it wasn't on our radar screen.
But now cases are popping up in the U.S. Dr. Laurel Riley says the mosquito-borne virus causes a variety of mild symptoms in adults, everything from rashes to pink eye, and some don't even feel sick. But the symptoms could be devastating for pregnant women.
There is the possibility of the infection being transmitted to the baby. And if it's transmitted to the baby, there's the possibility that the baby gets something called microcephaly, which is essentially a birth defect, which makes the brain unusually small.
The Zika virus is not contagious, and although there is a travel advisory for pregnant women, the Consul General of Brazil in Boston says visitors should not be scared, just cautious.
It's important for women who are pregnant or who are planning to get pregnant to be extra vigilant. But it's not that people are prohibited or that there is a restriction in that sense. It's just guidance.
Alicia Rodriguez, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester's Division of Public Health is urging residents who may have contact with people from areas impacted by the Zika virus to be vigilant. While there haven't been any reported cases here in central Massachusetts, Dr. Michael Hirsch says people can still be on the lookout.
In central Massachusetts, we have a pretty big Brazilian population. So if the Brazilian folks are traveling back and forth, or they're receiving new immigrants that are coming, it's important that if those people have these flu-like symptoms, that they be tested.
For some students, school lunch may be the only meal they get for the day. Project Bread is working with a local charter school in Worcester to help provide students with healthy and creative lunches. Our Olivia Lemon explains.
But it's a big part of their day, a big part of their lives, a big part of their health, and a big part of their academic achievement.
According to Project Bread, more than 66% of the food a child eats comes from their meals at school. So Ellen Parker says providing healthy lunches at school is a big deal.
We want to make sure that it's good to eat, and that's where the chefs really come in, that it's presented well and it tastes good.
We are at 64% free and reduced, which is pretty sad. We are doing our best to make sure that the needs of our children are taken care of.
Diane Mikulski is the Director of Food Services at Abby Kelly Foster Charter Public Schools. She says the schools are working with Project Bread to create healthy meals.
I know we'll never be professional chefs, but we are trying so hard.
Our mission here at this school to incorporate some new recipes and see what the kids like and don't like, and trying to get some more vegetable-driven recipes.
Chef educator Vanessa LeBranch works with the cafeteria staff at Abby Kelly. She teaches the employees new recipes and ideas for the kids to eat.
We sample first and get feedback from the students, which are surveys, and then we will menu it. So we do the sampling first, and then we do the menuing.
Friday, state lawmakers like Senators Michael Moore and Harriet Chandler were at Abby Kelly High School to help serve food and see how the programs work.
There's hunger right here in central Massachusetts, in Worcester, and for a lot of kids, this may be the only hot meal they get in the course of a day.
It's important, especially earlier part in the day, that you get that good nutrition. So having the vegetables, having it looking presentable and looking really good to the eye is important for the kids.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
Chef Vanessa says she is always trying new things. A crowd favorite was today's lunch, Sloppy Joe. Not so favorite one, hummus dip. Well, elsewhere, the Worcester High School band has been selected for what would be a history-making performance. But the band and their school may not be able to make it to the stage. Our Patricia Nicholas has a look at their dilemma and why they're asking for help.
To produce music is a whole another feeling, and it's just incredible. It's it's almost like stress relief and just a different experience of the world.
For some band members at South High School, music has had a big impact on their lives.
The hard work each student put into music, I really realized how much I also loved music.
There's not enough importance put on beauty in our lives, and through music they can create beauty. So I think it's very helpful to them, and it seems to me that I've seen that.
So it's no wonder why this band of 88 musicians was so excited when they found out they were selected to represent Massachusetts at a commemoration of the 240th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
I see this trip as a great opportunity to experience music outside of just Worcester. And not only would we be able to play with the Navy professional band, but we also have the opportunity to perform outside of Worcester at Hershey Park. And that's something special that I think not many of us have had the opportunity to do.
The only problem is the event is in Pennsylvania, and the band does not have the money to go. So since September, the students have been trying to raise the more than $40,000 needed to travel.
80% of our kids are, don't have sufficient enough money to live. And it's really important for us to really earn this money because apart from kids, not having enough money to go, a lot of kids don't have the opportunity to leave the state, leave the city.
The students say they are still short on funds. They say being able to go on this trip would be a life-changing experience.
Working with the Navy band, for example, we'll have role models, we'll have people to look up to, we'll have people to compare ourselves to, people to motivate us to become better musicians.
Patricia Nicholas, Worcester, New